So Enies Lobby, in my opinion, was like the time where One Piece like really was going down in terms of like story world building, man. Cause Enies Lobby, man, I think like to this day it's still like top three best like One Piece arcs of all time, and like possibly the best arc we ever have gotten from One Piece, man. So in today's video, I wanted to discuss about how Luffy brought that dog outside of him during this Enies Lobby arc because Luffy was going crazy during this arc, man. So let's first talk about him and Blueno. So I don't know, like CP9, like when I first saw them during Enies Lobby, they just struck me as like, okay, these guys are gonna be different from the previous villains because of the fact that they were under the world government and the fact that Sengoku, the five elders, they all had their trust in them to take Robin and capture her. So when I first saw these guys, I was like, these guys, they're gonna bring something out of all the Straw Hats, especially with their designs too. They all came in with their sleek black suits, man. I was like, okay, so I already know, like One Piece is gonna be cooking something with this arc. So Blueno, like, so the first guy that Luffy like fights off against in this arc, like we already knew that this guy was gonna be formidable in some type of way because we saw him during that train scene with Sanji and Soka King, how he was able to withstand like one of Sanji's kicks, right? It grazed him a little bit, but then Sanji was still no match for Blueno. Same goes with Soka King to the point where Robin just had to attack Soka King to show that, hey, I don't want this same treatment that Sanji and Soga King are getting. So it was just like this is the guy that Luffy's gonna be fighting, man. Because we saw what he could do with his devil fruit. Like Blendo, he has like one of the most unique devil fruits. I think his the door fruit, so it allows him to go through different dimensions. So that like seeing like him be like the very first person that Luffy was gonna fight in this arc, I was like, Luffy has to show us something, man. There has to be some type of transformation that Luffy's been testing with because he has to save Robin. And from what we've seen with his brief fight with Aokiji, and when Aokiji was also facing off against the other Straw Hats, none of them were able to like protect Robin. So I know each one of them were like, okay, so if we're really gonna try um, and save Robin this time around from these guys, we really have to like really show them what we can do. And so when Luffy showed off that Gear Second transformation, bro, Blueno was like, okay, so why is his body turning red? Why is he steaming? Like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm still gonna clap this guy. This guy is just an inexperienced pirate compared to like Portuguese D Ace and all these other folks out there. This will be done in like a flash. And as soon as the guy steps up to Luffy, Luffy easily knocks him down. I was just like, no way, bro. No way. Like how fast is Luffy right now for him to knock down somebody that was speeding at him at that alarming rate? And the fact that when Bueno, like when he woke, when he looked up and he saw that Luffy was already like gone, he was like, "Yo, where is he?" And then Luffy just started trademarking, comboing him. Like I've never seen a beatdown like that in the anime series, like besides like Rock Lee versus Gara, like the first parts of that fight where Rock Lee was just decimating Gara, Luffy was whooping Bueno, man. Like that fight has to be like out of all the fights where Luffy just dominated somebody, that has to be like number one. Besides what he did to Bellamy, I think it was like before they went to Skype P. I don't remember what time that was, but besides that scene, this has to be like the scene where Luffy like really decimated somebody like badly. I'm talking about badly. Like Luffy was making his head into a pinata, man. When he grabbed his hair horns and then just flew back at him like a like flying bullet at like alarming speed. I was like, okay, so Luffy, man, he was built different, man. Like during this time, and then like the fight got so bad for Blando that like when Luffy was like trying to show off his gear third, because I think that was what he was trying to show off to. Like he has something else besides that, which is his gear third. And then when Bueno just like was like knocked out, like he was already finished, I was just like, dang, man. So this guy that we saw during that train scene where like Sanji and Soga King were no match for him. Robin was like sweating because she's like, oh, this guy can easily kill Sanji and them. And Luffy just took him out like that. I was like, okay, Luffy has the dog in him during this arc. Robin might be safe, man. Robin is definitely gonna be safe because like Luffy did this to one of the top CP9 members, man. it was crazy. Now let's talk about him and Lucci, man, because I don't know, man. We've had so many fights in the One Piece series from Luffy versus Doflamingo, Luffy versus Kaido, all these different fights, man. Sanji versus Queen, Zoro versus Mr. One, Zoro versus King. Luffy versus Lucci is still like top three for me. Maybe my like favorite fight in the series, man. Because Lucci, he really brought out like the very best in Luffy in this fight, man. Like Luffy, like it's like in this point in the series, Luffy has not tried this like hard in a fight ever, man. Like we already like we're learning the drawbacks with Luffy using Gear Second that it takes like portions of his life away every time he uses this form. And so the way Luffy was like coming back, no matter what, like to just like save Robin from these guys, it was just like Luffy. He's really showing that he will do anything to save his his friends, his fellow crew members, man. It was just like Luffy was built different. And Lucci, man, he just had this menacing presence in this arc, man. Especially when he like transformed into his leopard form. Like I feel like out of all like the villains in the series, Lucci is still like one of the best in my opinion when it comes to design, his character, his motivations, everything was just cool with him, man. Like, which is why it just made me so happy when he came back during Egghead, man. Egghead, when he came back, bro, and he sized up Luffy again, he was thinking maybe it would be like back then, but at this point in time, Luffy has like surpassed Lucci greatly, but it's still cool that Lucci was also able to awaken his devil fruit as well, and the fact that Lucci is fighting Zoro now. So who knows how that fight will go? Maybe it'll be a stalemate. Maybe Zoro will just dominate Lucci, or Lucci might dominate Zoro. Who knows what's gonna happen, man? Because I feel like I remember this thing too. Because wasn't it like Enies Lobby where I think Lucci basically like his first encounter with Zoro, he kicked him out of like a building, something like that. I don't remember the scene exactly. And then when Zoro engages Lucci again, Zoro this time is the one that like hits Lucci out of the building this time around. So if that was the case, that's cool too. But Luffy in Enies Lobby, he was just built different, man. Like everything about Luffy in Enies Lobby was like this cold to me, right? The red shirt, the black shorts, man, and then plus that with the Gear 2 look with his reddish skin, the steaming, like Gear Second for the longest time was like my favorite like look for Luffy. Of course, until Snakeman came around, because Bounce Man, it was a pretty cool look for Luffy, but Snakeman, that look for him was just sick, man. The spiky long hair, the fact that he's not as huge as Bounce Man, but he's still like tall and muscular. And then of course, when we got Gear 5 too. Gear 5 is a lot of people's favorite gear look. It's my second favorite. Gear 5 is still, no, not Gear 5, Gear 4 Snake Man is still my favorite look of Luffy's. And so I'm happy that he's actually even using Gear 4 a lot now, because I was thinking that once he gets Gear 5, he's not going to be using the other gears anymore. But he's been using Gear 4 Snake Man a lot, so I love that a lot. But Enies Lobby Luffy was really like built different, man. Just everything about him. The fact that he was like so willing to save Robin, man, it was just too cool, man. The way he did Blueno too, bro, like he did that guy so dirty, bro. Like there's been many like anime scenes out there where the main character or the side character just dominates the antagonist so badly to where you're like, did he really have to go that hard on the guy? Like I'm thinking that Luffy and Bueno, like that's like one of those scenes that a lot of people think about when the main character just decimates the antagonist so badly that he can't even do anything against him, man. Like it was just so crazy. But you guys, let me know your thoughts on Luffy during Enies Lobby, man. Like how were you guys feeling him during Enies Lobby, and how did you feel that fight that he had with Lucci and Bueno, man? How did you feel with those two? Cause that like Luffy during that time, it was just different, man. Like Luffy, I think compared to like the previous Luffy's that we saw before that, him during Alabasta, Skypiea, all these other like arcs before that, he did not have the same energy that Luffy and Enies Lobby had, because the guy even said that if he can't defeat any of these CP9 members, then he won't be able to save his friends when they go to the new world and all that, man, when they're facing up against admirals and all these like major threats. So it was just cool seeing how Luffy was willing to do everything, even if it meant taking portions of his life away just to make sure that every one of his crew members were safe. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this short video, hit the subscribe button. Also like the video too, as I'll be putting out more videos for you guys every week. And as always, you guys let me know your thoughts on One Piece right now, because One Piece is like real good right now. I think Egghead is shaping up to be like top 3 post time skip arcs like ever in One Piece, man. Like the amount of lore that we're getting from One Piece right now and Egghead, the stuff with Sabo and Emu and all that stuff, has just been so good. But anyways, hope y'all continue a nice week, and I'll catch y'all for the next video. Peace.